Some Flash files can be very large and take a long time to load. While the Flash player lets your application play sounds even before they're fully loaded, you might want to give the user an indication of how much of the sound data has been loaded and how much of the sound has already been played. The sound class dispatches two events that make it relatively easy to display the loading progress of a sound: progress event.progress and event.complete. This example shows how to use these events to display progress information about the sound being loaded. Here's the script. First thing we want to do is set up our sound object in this line right here. Then we're going to add our event listeners. Notice that the event this time is a little bit different. Progress event.progress, comma, on load progress. And then here is the event.complete on load complete. And the last one is an I/O error event. In case there are problems, we can then display any error code that we want. In this case, we're going to display down here trace the sound could not be loaded, and then the event.text, so that'll give us some text about which event failed or had problems. Let's go ahead and test this script by doing a control test movie here. And there's our sound file. And notice that it's giving me this progress. Now the progress is very quick because I'm loading this from my hard drive, but this would be giving me various progress as the sound is loaded. The sound will continue or start to play, and I'll get this sound is 36% loaded, 48, 60, and so on. Go ahead and review more about this script. Now the sound first creates a sound object, then it adds the listeners to that object for the various progress, event progress, and event.complete, as well as the I/O error. After the sound load method has been called right here, the first data is received from the sound file, and a progress event.progress event occurs. This triggers the onload progress method. That's this function right here. There's my onload progress method. Then it's doing this math here to give me a percentage. Remember, the percentage of the event bytes loaded divided by the event.bytes total will tell me how much of the file has loaded. In other words, if the bytes total is 100K and I've loaded 50, the percentage will be 50%. So I'm putting that here in the trace. The sound is 50%, percent sign there, loaded. Then here I have my function onloadComplete over here, that event listener right there. Trigger that function onloadComplete. It's going to give me a local sound variable, set it equal to the event.target as sound, and then it's going to go ahead and play the sound. This is interesting down here, a little bit new. Let's move this up a little bit. Here's the error at event listener I/O error. So if there's any errors or problems loading the sound file, it's going to run this function, which essentially just traces in my output display here the sound could not be loaded, and then adds the event text here. So if we go ahead and try to load sound 15, for example, or song 15, which I don't have in my audio folder, and we do a control test movie, notice that it gives me this error here. The sound could not be loaded, error 2032, stream error. Then it gives me the URL that it can't load right there, and there's the song 15.mp3. Let's close down our windows here. Now this example simply shows messages about the sound loading progress. Let's go ahead and demonstrate this again by typing in a correct path. However, you could easily use the bytes loaded and bytes total values to update progress bar components, just like the ones we used for our preloader. This example also shows how an application can recognize and respond to an error when loading sound files. In this case, the sound file with the given file name could not be located, so an event I/O error event was dispatched by the sound object, displaying a brief error message when the error occurred. Let's now move on to the next movie and review our first audio project and the scripts required to create a volume slider.